What's going on, everybody? It's Blackjack here with the Clean Finish Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at It's21Blackjack. Follow the podcast Twitter at Need Clean Finish. Today is February 13th, 2016. We're doing this on a Saturday today. I was very, very ill, or maybe not ill, but came down with some sort of a stomach virus on Thursday. So I decided to postpone the show. Still writing solo here, and I just think that's what it's going to be. Don't know why, but it is what it is. In terms of what am I going to do, is this still going to be the Clean Finish Podcast? Do I rebrand? Do I do whatever? I mean, my intention is for it to stay this way. How it evolves, what happens, I don't know. Like I said, still haven't talked since that episode, but I'm over it. But I know people are going to ask, so I thought I'd pretty much give an update and an answer to what it is. I think this should be the in terms of talking about it on air, I think this is going to be the last time I really discuss it, because there's nothing more to really kind of go over. But yeah, thank you guys for showing up. Everybody that's going to show up this Saturday morning. Apologies again for not being here Thursday. But let's go ahead and get in this show, because I have a lot to talk about. There's Raw. There's NXT. Matt Hardy apparently being great in this new role. And I think what's really helping Matt Hardy too is that a lot of people don't like, let me not say doesn't like. They look at Matt Hardy and they go, really? You're making him champion? Matt Hardy can't put over some new, young, rising talent? And Matt Hardy is actually kind of doing wonders with it. It's probably the best character work I've seen out of him in quite some time. And I'm not like fully paying attention to TNA in terms of like the actual wrestling and seeing the wrestling matches, but I am paying attention to the character work and what they're doing. And Matt Hardy's actually doing a pretty great job right now. The character is certainly getting over, not, like fans are cheering it, but it's certainly getting the heel heat and the desired reaction. People are absolutely hating it. So it's working. So all the credit in the world to him. We have to go over the Daniel Bryan retirement stuff, the ridiculous Titus O'Neil story. It just seems to be getting stupider and stupider by the day. I don't know how that's possible. And then, I think that's pretty much it. I'll probably go over some rumors and stuff that everybody seems to be making the rounds. Let's go ahead and jump into Raw first, since that seems to be the first thing that I kind of haven't covered this week, and it happened on Monday. Not a lot to really talk about here, honestly. I know that the big thing that we're going to talk about is the Daniel Bryan stuff, and I'm going to kind of give that its own thing at the end, which is honestly where it should be. But this Raw, man, just it was whatever. It really was. It's another, for me, a D- show with maybe only one good thing that came out of it. You had the Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose stuff pretty much throughout the entire show. Show started off with Stephanie McMahon coming out and saying, hey, there's going to be a contract signing. And it just kind of seemed like it was going to be its normal little Raw. It's just going to be like whatever, because you know how Stephanie introduced things. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. All that good stuff. Afterwards, once I think Stephanie got cut off by Dean, and Dean came down and he was like, I want Brock Lesnar. Let's get this on. And Brock Lesnar comes down, and then Roman comes down. And man, Roman is just like, he is a lampshade in this whole thing. And I don't know if they're trying to build Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose for Mania, or if they're trying to make Dean a major baby face, or because I can't see the heel turn. I can't see it right now. I don't know what exactly they're doing, but I am way more interested in what they're doing with Ambrose and Brock Lesnar than whatever they are doing with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, he just is kind of in the background right now, and I don't care. He's having like no interaction with Triple H. This guy that he apparently hates so much, a guy that he put through a table and got super aggressive with. He's just kind of there. And it's weird. This guy was the former champion. This guy was the previous champion. And yet Brock and Dean seem more ready to fight than he does. And not even just fight. They seem like they care more. And it's not even necessarily that they even care about, well, they do care about the title, but they care way more about getting in the ring and destroying each other. While Roman's just kind of there. It's weird. It's not getting me hyped to want to watch Roman at Mania. So it was actually a pretty good contract signing because they got straight to the point. They signed the contracts. And Steph pretty much got out of the ring. And Dean immediately gets up in Lesnar's face, which nobody does. And I'm glad that Dean is doing this because he's getting aggressive and it sells you on the fight. Even though we know Dean's going to get pulverized and beaten and beaten and beaten. To see somebody still know that he's going to get that and still want to get in the guy's face and fight, you kind of want to see what he does when he actually gets offense off, if he does. Dean Ambrose is, even though he's not getting any offense whatsoever, and we'll get into what he did later on once we get to that segment. I can't really explain it because he's not doing anything where he's like sneak attacking or going behind Brock Lesnar. He's kind of just coming out front and saying, "Please deliver this beating to me before," and we're not even at the match yet. I don't know. I'm starting to really, really get behind Dean, and I hope that they're not trying to turn him because I don't know if that's going to work, and I think it's going to backfire on them and cause some negative reaction towards Roman, who's just kind of in the background of all this. So Lesnar goes. He after Ambrose gets in his face, he throws him into Roman, and then takes the table and throws that into Roman as well. And he grabs Dean, F5s him, end of segment. Afterwards, Dean Ambrose is backstage with Roman, and he said he pretty much pissed off, and he said, I want Brock Lesnar. I want him again. So they came out later on, and he told Roman, don't come out. Like, I got this. I'm going to handle this on my own. And Ambrose cuts his promo. He's like, was that an F5 or an F10 or an F15 or an F150? And he said, like, is that all you got? I thought that was supposed to hurt. And he starts taunting Brock's manhood. And then he pretty much gets Brock to come out again. And Brock goes in. I can't remember if Ambrose says anything to him or not. But I think Brock essentially just goes in there, beats him down again, F5s him again, and then that's it. And Brock walks off. But then Dean starts getting up again, and he's laughing. And I love this because there's a difference in laugh between Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose. Because Brock Lesnar is laughing because here's this idiot that Brock's laughing because it's just like, oh, really? You're going to do something? Okay. Whatever, dude. I'm gonna suplex you all over this fucking arena, F5 you, like time and time and time again, and that's gonna be it. Where Dean's laughing and saying, like, he's laughing in the way where it's like, yeah, that hurt, but I'm gonna keep taking these, and you're not gonna keep me down. It's a lot different than when like Roman takes a beat down and he starts laughing because. The best way that I can explain it is that they're telling a different story with Dean than they are with Roman, where with Roman, they're trying to get you sympathy, and it's hard to get sympathy for a guy when he's laughing. With Dean, he's not looking for sympathy at all. He is looking for a fight, and he does expect to get his ass beat, so you're not supposed to be sympathetic towards him. he's trying to sell you on the fact that Brock's not going to beat him. Brock's not going to be able to keep him down. So it works. This is the laugh of a lunatic, not a guy who's just crazy, but a guy who just doesn't know how to stay down. You know how like I hate to bring a anime analogy here, but if you ever watched Naruto, he's essentially that's essentially what he is. He's a guy that has something in him that doesn't keep him down. And even though he gets beat and beat and beat and beat, this motherfucker does not give up and he doesn't stop. He's stubborn. And there's something in that you can really get behind. Now, even though Naruto's really kind of overpowered in everything, Dean, in a way, he's not overpowered, but his will is so strong that it kind of keeps pushing him forward. And I like that. I haven't seen a guy in WWE with that fight in him in quite some time. And I think Ambrose is a very, very welcome character in comparison to a lot of the characters that we've gotten. And I think this chemistry between him and Brock really works. Now, what I didn't like, well, actually, you know what? It's not even so much that I didn't like it. Well, you know what? Yeah. What I didn't like about this segment isn't what I think most of you think I'm not going to like about it, is that Brock came back down, and I think he F5'd him again. And as Brock started to leave, Roman Reigns came out. And when Roman Reigns came out, he just slowly walked down the ramp, and Dean low blowed him from behind. Now, it's not the low blow that I have a problem with. I understand that what they're trying to sell here is that it's a triple threat match, and that if you take your eye off of somebody for 1 second, they can get the upper hand, is what they're trying to sell here. But what I didn't like is that Roman came out. Now, I understand that he's a part of this match and he does need to be there. But him serving a distraction for Roman Reigns, aside for Dean Ambrose, I felt weakened that segment for me. I felt like Roman shouldn't have been here. That segment was going so strong without him, and I think he weakened it. And that's not to say anything bad about Roman Reigns. I just think the booking of that segment was bad. I don't think he should have been booked in that spot. I would have liked to have seen Dean Ambrose be scrappy and just kind of fight his way through. The low blow I don't have a problem with, because this is how you beat him. Undertaker has done this millions of times, and I understand from Undertaker's perspective, it's very heelish. And low blows are naturally a kind of heelish thing. I understand that. With Taker, however, there was no reason for him to ever kick Brock Lesnar in the dick. There's zero reason. He beat you at Mania clean. I mean, other than the fact that he's, taunting about it and celebrating it. But even then, he's not doing anything bad or doing anything, deserving of it. So when Undertaker goes and low blows him every time, it's just kind of like, damn, dude, really? Why'd you have to do that? And here too, there is that element there where it does come off a bit heelish. But because there's that precedent of the only way that you can really stop Brock Lesnar is to low blow him, I can understand why Dean did it. And I think that's why I get a little nervous about a heel turn coming, is because that low blow happened. But I think what they were trying to do with this, although it wasn't executed properly, was to say that Ambrose is going to go and do whatever it takes to take down Brock. And technically, in a triple threat match, that is a legal move. There's no disqualification in a triple threat. So if he low blows Brock Lesnar, unless they make a stipulation saying so, I mean, what are they going to do? They can't DQ him for that. So it should be interesting. And like he said he was going to take advantage of any opening, anything that can give him an edge. And I think this is fine. Let me see. You know what's also interesting about it too is that I do feel like this match at the Royal Rumble not the Royal Rumble, at Fastlane could potentially go any way. I think the guy that is absolutely not going to win is Brock Lesnar. I do have it either being Roman or Dean. I can't see a situation. Well, and that's weird because Brock Lesnar is the guy that should. When you look at him on paper, it's like, oh yeah, Brock Lesnar's going to win. But I think from a booking standpoint, they're not going to put Brock there. Brock with Triple H and then make Brock champion. I mean, granted, I would have no problem with that, especially because they're going to get ready to put Brock on SmackDown next week. But yeah, who knows? We'll see where it goes. Other things that happened that night, we had Dolph Ziggler versus Kevin Owens. This is the we have nothing for you feud. We have nothing for you, Kevin Owens, even though you were just Intercontinental Champion, and we don't care anymore, but you beat Cena. So here's Dolph Ziggler. You're going to lose to him. And Dolph Ziggler is cheating to win. I know that we were talking a lot about like how guys come off as faces and heels. And with Ambrose, I'm saying it's not really a heel tactic because he's said that he's going to go. I mean, he's keeping to his word. He has said that he's going to go through whatever measure to win. If there's an opening, he'll take it. So it's not like he's being dishonest. I mean, he pretty much said that's what he's going to do. Whereas with Ziggler is trying to come off as a good guy who morally does the right thing and doesn't cheat. And Ziggler here used the ropes to go ahead and pin Kevin Owens. It's really baffling because it makes Kevin Owens seem like the babyface. Yeah, and it seems like what they're trying to do is make Owens snap. But, I mean, dude snaps like all the time. On SmackDown, he powerbombed Kalisto he threw him into Dolph Ziggler. I don't think I need to see him snap. He kind of did it against Ambrose already. He's done it to Machine Gun Kelly. How many times do I really need to see this guy snap? We got the message. Charlotte and Alicia Fox. Jesus Christ, this match was horrible. I don't know whose fault it was. I think it was probably more on Charlotte. But man, that match was hot garbage. Hot garbage. Miz TV with Jericho was actually a very good segment, and I'm liking Chris Jericho now. And it all has to do with the fact that he's turning heel. Because babyface Jericho, especially in 2016, no. I don't need cool dad Jericho. I hate that guy. That guy is awful. Heel Jericho, who actually has some direction and doesn't like losing and wants to upstage people. I like this guy. This guy who goes and tells the Miz, fuck your television segment. We're doing my television segment. This is going to be the highlight reel with with you as the guest host. I like that all of this is built up for AJ Styles, and that essentially what they're doing is having having their two best talkers, two guys who actually know how to get heat, get AJ over. And it's working. It's working pretty well. Afterwards, they have AJ and Jericho clean out the Miz, who can't shut his mouth. And then AJ and Jericho, I think at the end, just kind of stare face to face, and they promote their match for SmackDown. And it also seems like what they're doing with AJ too is they're keeping him on SmackDown to make him a draw for that show. I don't mind that they're doing that. I mean, granted, you would love to see him wrestle on Raw, but at some point, I guess WWE's idea is that they really want to get SmackDown over again as a show that matters. And that's probably a good way to do it, is to sell certain talent on certain shows. I don't think there should be a brand split. That I don't think should happen. But, if they say like, hey, you want to see AJ Styles, you really like Shinsuke Nakamura, or you really enjoy trying to think of another guy. I don't know. Let's say they bring up Apollo Crews or Neville, a guy that they can't get right on Raw. Here's SmackDown, where it becomes their flagship show in a kind of way, their flagship show, where they can go ahead and have them go there. And then if they want to do some main event stuff, your main event storylines, your big storylines, then bring them over to Raw. You know what I mean? If you want to treat a certain show as an A show and a B show, I think that's the way you do it, is that you promote certain talent to be on certain shows and have a prominent role there. And if you want to transition them over during time, you don't have to do a stupid draft or anything like that. If they're in a major storyline, great. Your major storyline is being put on Raw. And then you can build storylines or have your, I don't want to say meaningless matches, but kind of the stuff that feels like it doesn't really fit into the main show, have it go on SmackDown. And the funny thing is that right now, SmackDown is a way better show than Raw. I kid you not. I kid you not, it is a way better show. Bray Wyatt versus Ryback. Pretty good match. Let me say pretty good. It's a decent match overall. I do like Ryback's look. I know that everybody wants to chant and say stuff about like how he looks like Goldberg. That's fine. But I'm going to be honest with you. I could take him way more seriously now in trunks than I can with him with the colored singlets. I always thought it looked silly. It looked ridiculous. So I'm glad they finally just moved him to trunks. He has the Ryback logo on the front. It's a good look for him. Good look for the guy. Let him be all big and meaty and do whatever he wants. This had Ryback lost this match, right? They had Bray Wyatt hit Sister Abigail, and then Wyatt family just goes and starts. I think they went and they killed him. And then, follow the buzzards. They had, wait, did they cut a promo for this? No, I'm thinking about I'm getting SmackDown and Raw confused. I don't think there was a promo for this. But yeah, it was just pretty much Bray Wyatt went over Ryback. This is really the important thing. I guess they're building them towards something on SmackDown. They talked about how they're going to take down all the Titans. So I guess now they're stealing the script from Attack on Titan. So yeah, it's essentially, I think what they're building for Fastlane is that there's going to be a tag match. All the big guys from previous WWE against all the big guys in the Wyatt family to, I guess, get the new big guys over, something they should have been doing 2 years ago, especially with Luke Harper, who they've done nothing with. But we'll see where it goes. Adam Rose versus Titus O'Neil. The Social Outcasts all came out. And I like how they're working the Social Outcasts to get wins on guys, which is essentially, I mean, sure, they're a jobber faction, if you will, but they're not treating them like complete jobbers. Like, they're 4 guys, we always want to talk about the numbers game. So it's about time that the numbers finally catch up on somebody. And, it's 4 guys. Unless it's like Roman Reigns, 4 guys in most scenarios should be able to handle one dude. So it was nice to see that they got distractions and they cheated and they got Adam Rose over and got him the win. Now, I don't care for the fact that they had to do this to Titus, a guy that they've been trying to build wins for. I really wish that Titus could have just gone over here, especially considering the fact that he's been squashing really talented guys like Tyler Breeze. Meanwhile, he lost to Adam Rose here. It's confusing. So I didn't really care for that. But at the same time, I do like that they're selling the Social Outcasts. So Titus O'Neil, of course, because he doesn't win afterwards, goes and kills Adam. And I'm just kind of like, well, what's the point? Nobody goes over. The Social Outcasts don't get to keep their heat. Titus O'Neil takes an L. Whatever. Yet the League of Nations versus the Lucha Dragons. They took an L to the League of Nations. Del Rio and Rusev were actually pretty good in this match. Also, good news, Sin Cara is back. But yeah, the double foot stomp in the corner from Del Rio to Kalisto. I don't know why he couldn't pin Sin Cara here. That would have made way more sense. But no, Del Rio pins Kalisto. So do expect to see a rematch at Fastlane for the U.S. title. Great. Tamina versus Becky Lynch. It's a Tamina match. Sasha Banks was on commentary with, I want to say, was Naomi out here for this? I think she was. But anyway, with Sasha on commentary, they I actually don't remember anything that happened. I know that there was like some sort of a distraction on the out. I think Sasha ended up getting in Naomi's face, maybe, or Naomi got in her face, or was it Tamina that got in her face? And then Becky came for the save. And no, I don't remember. All I remember was that there was a super kick and Tamina won. Tamina beat Becky Lynch. Tamina, the person who was pretty much serving as just the jobber of the women, whose job was to go out there and just lose, all of a sudden beats Becky Lynch, who was just recently your challenger for the title. I don't get it. There was a segment backstage with the Usos and the Dudleys where the Dudleys came up to them and were like, hey, you're in a tables match. We want to be in tables match. We do tables. That's our gimmick. It's just like, but that's our match. They argued with the Usos. They went back and forth for a little bit. The Usos said, fine. If we can get it approved, sure. You can join us and fight the New Day. Which made no sense to me because I'm like, why would the Authority approve this? And second off, why are you booking 4 baby faces against 3 heels? It didn't make sense until later when the New Day had to find a new partner. And they went and they recruited Mark Henry. Mark Henry took one of the unicorn horns and put it on his head and started swiveling his hips and dancing to New Day's request. Mark Henry with a floppy dildo on his head. It's a thing that happened. Anyway, Dudley Boys, Usos versus New Day and Mark Henry. It's a fun match for what it was. I mean, table matches, when are they never not fun? And then the Dudleys ended up 3D'ing Big E through the table for the win. And then the Dudley Boys turned on the Usos. Okay. I think the most notable thing about all of that was that the Dudley Boys were getting cheered the entire time. They didn't give a fuck about the Usos. They turned and they're just like, okay, yeah, yay, violence. Please put the Usos through a table. They put them through a table and they cheered. And then they were like, one more time. And sure enough, they gave them one more table spot. And it was a bubble bomb or a power bomb through from the top turnbuckle through the table. And I'm just like, wow. So much for your baby faces. Their baby faces got their ass kicked so bad, and the crowd cared so much about them that they cheered the Dudleys. Hilarious. Which then brought us to Daniel Bryan's retirement. This was probably one of the greatest segments, probably the greatest segment in WWE history. This retirement segment was great. I loved it. Absolutely loved this segment. Everything about it was it was beautiful. It wasn't fake. It came off very sincere. Nothing about it seemed like it was scripted. This was Daniel Bryan coming out there and pretty much saying thank you to us. It was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in my life. because normally you expect when a wrestler retires, they talk a little bit about themselves, their career. They do some retrospective and talk about all the great things that happened. And they, yeah, they'll thank the fans in the middle of it too. But, it's usually a recap of their career. Here, he was just talking about, how he, how he loved going through the ropes and diving like Superman, and how he wasn't supposed to get over, and that all those people got behind him. All of us got behind him. And he said the favorite thing about going to Seattle and having that Raw happen wasn't that they were chanting for him, but that his dad, before he passed away, got to see him get that reaction, and that they all made it special. It was just so great. I mean, Daniel Bryan is probably had one of the greatest careers, where the guy at, what is he, 35 years old now? Everybody loves this guy and has shown his appreciation for him. And he's gotten such a reaction at 35 years old, and such an appreciation, that not even just wrestlers, artists, athletes, major figures, they don't get that reaction until they're dead a lot of times. You know what I mean? We didn't really appreciate guys like, I'm trying to think, like a Kurt Cobain, until he took his life. And then everybody kind of reflected back on it and talk about how influential he was. He was just the first guy that came to mind. Same thing with a guy like Eddie Guerrero. I mean, we all knew he was great, but his life isn't celebrated as much until he passed away. With Daniel Bryan, he's still alive at 34. Still alive. And he gets to have this moment where he can look back on his life still living and enjoy his new life as well, and see just how much people loved him and cared about him. And man, what was also great about this, because because I'm getting sad thinking about it, because it really was sad. But I was happy for him at the same time, because let's be honest, he did have a great career. That motherfucker got to do a lot. He got the main event WrestleMania. There ain't a lot of people that can say they did that. He got to do pretty much everything in the company that he possibly could have. And unfortunately, concussions cut his career short. But it was just so funny that he talked about Brie and having kids, and they all did the yes chant. And he's like, yeah, that's what she says, or whatever. He turned completely Michael Scott in this segment. But yeah, it just was so great. I didn't hate Brie Bella for a second. I could not hate her during this entire segment. Then Tuesday happened, and I was just like, you know what? Never mind. They're giving Brie Bella a title match, and of course they're going to use the Nikki and the the Bryan stuff. And I'm like, no, I can't buy her in a championship match. No. But when it comes to Bryan's life and Brie's life and what they're going to do outside of wrestling and them having kids, I am happy for them. I'm actually happy for them. It was really cool. It was really cool that afterwards, Daniel Bryan didn't just go and walk up the ramp. He went, and it's not like he just went around the ring area and high-fived people and greeted people. He went through the crowd. He went up the stairs. It went on for like 5 or 6 minutes, where he was going around thanking everybody. It's just Great. I mean, it's so sincere, and there's nothing that you have to buy into. You don't have to buy Bryan's retirement because that's legit. It's so legit. And it just reminds me that, you know, in WWE, some of the best moments are moments that are real. The moments that feel like you just let the suspense go away for a moment. And you just tell a real story. And that was the real story with Daniel Bryan, was that we got so firmly behind this guy. A guy that really wasn't supposed to make it. Remember how they treated him in NXT? Remember how they treated him all this time? And he's thankful and grateful that because of us, we got him to that point. And it's always a weird thing because, you know, even with me on YouTube, I always say that in reality, you know, why we do this, there's not really a you guys are the reason that I do this, but you guys get behind us. You guys help get us out there and make us bigger than what we can be. You know, at the end of the day, I'm always going to do this because I'm the guy that's waking up out of bed, and I'm the guy that wants to actually make these videos and do it, you know? But a lot of what happens around this doesn't happen without you guys. You guys do play a big part in all of this happening. And I think Daniel Bryan really wanted to show that appreciation to everybody, because he knows his career. Well, maybe not his career. I mean, he was always going to be a fantastic wrestler, whether you were there or not. But a lot of the opportunities that he got didn't happen without you guys. And that's the truth. It was just great. I have nothing else I can say about it. It was really one of my it was a great segment. I loved it. It was sincere. There was nothing false about it. Yeah. I'm getting sad again. I'm gonna stop being sad and let's talk about some news. So let's finally discuss this Titus O'Neil thing. I posted on Twitter a little earlier today. Was it today or was it yesterday? Yesterday, yeah. That pretty much the short of it is this. I think it's hilarious that they're suspending Titus O'Neil for 90 days, and now it's turning up that there was discussion of possibly firing Titus O'Neil for his interaction with Vince McMahon after Daniel Bryan's retirement speech. And I think it's so ridiculous because this is the same guy, and it's all about him being unprofessional. And everybody, and there's some people, not everybody, some people that are defending this suspension because Titus wasn't professional enough, and it just wasn't the right time to do this. And he could have just waited until he got backstage. It was very unprofessional of him. This suspension was deserved. May I remind you, this is the same guy that on national television went and flipped off a fan and tried to hide it on live television. This is the same guy suspending this guy for 90 days. Well, now it's 60 days because they had to take down this because they got so much backlash for him. Batista is just straight up told him, hey, ask for your release. You might as well. I think this is so stupid. There are so many inappropriate and unprofessional things that have happened inside of WWE that this should be the last. This should be the last thing that's deserving of a suspension. So many immature things that the company has done as well. Look at the whole Lana situation, for instance. Look at how poorly that's been handled. But they had The Rock come on, and they absolutely demolished the poor girl. It was, pretty much just had The Rock talk about, oh yeah, remember all that time we had sex? Yeah, it's pretty much just a shot at the whole marriage thing. A lot of people call that slut shaming. It's not. If they're both saying they had sex and they're bragging about the sex that they had, that is, well, it's one guy really bragging about it. Another person is just saying, all right, yeah, that happened. That's not slut shaming. Slut shaming is a completely different thing. You want to say he's being misogynistic, then yes, he is definitely a huge misogynist. That's been The Rock's character forever. If this is just news to you, where have you been the past 16 years? But I mean, just look at how poorly they handle that and how unprofessional that is. There's so many other things I can go on about. I mean, remember, this is the same company that fired Vince McMahon could go ahead and flip somebody in the crowd, but God forbid Brad Maddox goes out there and calls someone a cocky prick. That gets you fired. I can't make heads or tails of it. I don't understand it whatsoever. I don't get it at all. I just, it's infuriating. And I think this is absolutely embarrassing. And what it's turning out it is that all Titus O'Neil was doing was pulling Vince back to say, hey, let Steph go first because she's a lady. Now, granted, I'm not all into chivalry and all that. I think whatever, if Vince was in front, whatever, it is what it is. But to suspend a guy for that, I think is stupid. Absolutely stupid. I've had that happen to me before when I'm on an elevator where I'm just not really paying attention. And, family members have done it and even coworkers have done it where they say, hey, just wait, let her go off first. And there's not a big fuss about it. You just stop and you go, oh, okay. And let them go on. If Vince's feelings got hurt because Titus is trying to be polite, then this became a personal matter. And that's unprofessional. That is far more unprofessional than what Titus did. If you're taking something that was meant to be polite and taking it personally because your feelings are hurt or whatever, and I hate the excuse of like how Vince's attitude. Who cares what his attitude is? Okay, if this happened, and I've had moments like this happen. I've gotten to a shouting match one day in the store with my manager over something. And he's my boss, who's completely capable of firing me. And we went to the back and we talked it out. He gave me a verbal warning, and that was it. Instead, they want to make an example of Titus and give him a 60-day suspension, which I think is so stupid. So stupid. It's unbelievably unprofessional by the company. And I think that it's just embarrassing, honestly. There's nothing else I can really say about it. I think it's dumb. Absolutely dumb. I forgot to mention this with Daniel Bryan, by the way, too. A lot of his moveset didn't help the concussions either. Him doing the flying headbutt and the, and when he was wrestling with Ziggler, he started doing headbutts again too. There's also another thing with the headbutts. I think Harley Race used to do a lot of headbutts too. And Harley Race talked about how he hated doing, how he regretted doing the headbutt and thought it should have been done. Like nobody should use it anymore. And Harley Race is like way back in the day. So yeah, if I see the flying headbutt kind of go the way of the pile driver, I'd be okay with that. I think it's absolutely fair to kind of ban that move and stop letting it being used. Using your head as a weapon is probably something that should go away. It's a shame that it has to be because we lost a in terms of wrestling, we didn't actually lose Daniel Bryan, but in wrestling, we've lost a fantastic wrestler like Daniel Bryan because of head related injuries and concussions due to his offense. So I'm actually okay if they wanted to get rid of like the flying head button and stuff like that. Let's see what else. Trying to think. Don't think there were any other big rumors going around. Trying to think. What are there any? Is there anything else that's like really big going on? Not that I know of. Oh yeah, I do know. If you haven't watched SmackDown, AJ Styles did lose his first match against Jericho. I'm actually okay with it. I did though. There's the only thing I don't like about it is that it's kind of put or defined AJ Styles down into this mid card role. You know, AJ Styles, a guy that you just signed a lot of money for. You want to make him a big attraction, but what I didn't mind about him losing was that we got a different match on SmackDown. The match was actually way better the second time around. A definitive finish. And this was the start of it. The first match forced Jericho to evolve and become different for the second match. So in the first match, Jericho was a face. Now Jericho is turning heel. So when a different element is brought into a match, I don't mind if they go 50-50. That's fine. Because then there's going to be a full heel Jericho and a face AJ Styles. And AJ Styles is going to get his win over clean and probably hit the Styles Clash to beat Jericho and end the feud once and for all. I'm okay with that. That's fine. Trying to think what else. Triple H, it's reported because X-Pac in a I think he was on the Jim Ross podcast, and he was talking about Triple H pushing for Roman Reigns to beat him down after the show was over on TLC. That's something that he had to fight to get happen. And it almost didn't. And just think about that. If Sheamus had beaten Roman Reigns and Triple H did not come out there that night, the whole thing would have been awful because he would have beat down Sheamus and everybody would have just booed and it would have been showered in boos. So if that story is true, Triple H very much saved Roman Reigns. Trying to think what else. I think that's pretty much it. Daniel Bryan DVD, by the way. I think they're shooting stuff for it, and I think that I know they have stuff on the network. I think they're working on putting together a DVD now. Don't know when it'll come out. I know nothing about it. And that Rey Mysterio may be coming back to WWE after he leaves Lucha Underground. Not sure when it'll be, but they want him on a part-time schedule. But he's obviously going to get a part-time schedule if he's there with WWE, which is really what he wants. And AAA is also dealing with a whole bunch of financial issues and stuff. I think WWE is actually interested in Garza Jr. Down there in AAA, and that and with Triple H having AAA having difficulties kind of keeping their big stars there. WWE could be coming in and sweeping dudes up very, very soon. All right, let's talk about NXT. I got to pull up my notes real quick. Give me a second here. All right, NXT. NXT starts off with Johnny Gargano and Baron Corbin. This is the first match since the triple threat for Corbin, and first time we've seen Gargano in quite a bit of time. We had Johnny Gargano come out there and put on actually a pretty good match with Baron Corbin. At one point, Baron Corbin hit deep six, and I think as he tried to go I think he was trying to go for the pin, I believe, or maybe no, I think it was because he was picking him up to put him in the end of days to just put him away, and Gargano quickly got up and super kicked him. And this super kick hit Corbin so hard, you would have thought he was selling a concussion, because he got up, he fell down, he like stumbled out of the ring, and Gargano started chasing him, babyface, making sure that he gets the win. He started chasing him around. Corbin slides in, and Gargano comes after him. And this is what I said the end of days should be. It is a move that is designed to be completely opportunistic. And sure enough, Gargano got in there, and he wasn't ready. He wasn't expecting it or ready for it to happen. End of days, out of nowhere, Gargano loses. Corbin goes over clean. It's great. I loved it. It got all the heel heat it should have. Because you really thought that that Gargano had him, and then Corbin just like snatches victory out of his hands just like that. Loved it. Sami Zayn was backstage afterwards. He's discussing the whole, he wants to be the first person to be a two-time NXT champ. He said that, he understands William Regal's decision to put them in put him in a match with Samoa Joe to go one-on-one for the number one contendership, even though he kind of feels like he should be there in the championship match, but it's fine. He said this is his career. He's been overcoming obstacles this whole time there, and that he was going to beat Samoa Joe so that he could face Finn Balor. Then we got another segment with the Vaudevillains doing their video thing. It's a very weird thing because the Vaudevillains got cheered even after the first time they did the promo video. They got cheered. I think they were going up. I can't remember who they were going up against, but nothing that they really did screamed heel. So it's weird that they're doing these videos and not having them like cheat or be dastardly. Like I don't see heel in them yet. They should be booked like heels. Their name is the Vaudevillains, for Christ's sake. And maybe they should change their theme music to be a bit more dark. When they come out, I'm happy. I'm like do 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 do. I mean, like, how can you not be happy when you hear that? So afterwards, we had Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder versus John Schuyler and Corey Hollis. My God, Mojo Rawley. I can't. I'll give everything to this crowd. This crowd, because they're actually in Orlando, right? They're in a different venue. They're in a bigger venue. I think it's like where UCF plays. It was a great crowd. Actually, Solid Monster was there too. So I kind of want to hear what he had to say when he reviews NXT, because he was actually there. And then having to see it on, produced. The crowd did a very good job of actually getting behind the Hype Bros, but my God, I cannot watch Mojo Rawley, and I just feel bad for Zack Ryder. Poor Zack Ryder. This guy needs Mojo Rawley to work so that he can stay relevant. You know, like this may be his last chance, really. Unless Zack Ryder just completely changes the character. But yeah, it's so sad because I can't buy the hype, bros, and it's mainly Mojo Rawley. I just get hype, and then his offense is just wacky. It's so like people don't like Dean's rope rebound lariat move that he does. I don't like anything of Mojo Rawley's offense. Like his offense is just very like, I'm gonna throw you in the air and then you're gonna fall down and then I'm just gonna run all over the place. It's just like a pinball. It's really annoying. I don't know. I can't really explain it in words why I don't like Mojo Rawley. I really do not like this guy. And I'm sure not as a person, you know, I'm sure as a person, Mojo Rawley is probably a fantastic human being, blah, 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 blah. But as a wrestler, just no, thank you. I will pass. They made quick work of him. Hype Rider for the win. Done. Afterwards, we had Carmella and Bayley backstage. They talked a little bit about, you know, the match, and they were asking questions of like, you know, well, you know, like you two are friends, but you guys are going to be in the ring. And they're just like, nope, we're going to get in the ring and we're going to be friends going in. Sure, we're going to compete because I want to win the championship. Yada, yada, yada. I think Carmella was selling it as like, you know, like, but this is my one chance and I'm going to win that championship. And Bayley's like, I'm not ready to let it go yet. But they said, but we'll still be friends afterwards. And they shook hands, and that was pretty much it. I don't know why anybody was expecting a turn. I told you weeks ago, they're not turning. It's not going to happen. And then a weird match happened. We had Alexa Bliss versus Cameron. Why? These are two heels. I don't understand this at all. You have Alexa Bliss and Cameron in a match. I didn't get it. I was just like, who am I cheering for? Who am I supposed to get behind? And why? I guess Alexa Bliss was the face here. But they were both heels, so it was a heel on heel match, and the crowd didn't really know how to react to it, so they just kind of decided, well, Cameron really sucks, but Alexa Bliss we like her, so let's cheer for her. The match was kind of clunky. Bliss she may need to let go of that flipping double knee stomp thing, because sometimes it can look good, most times it looks horrible. And this was another one where it looks horrible because the knees don't land on the person. And when they don't land on the person, it doesn't work. Hit a glitch slip for the win. There ain't really much to talk about it afterwards. I mean, Alexa Bliss then tried, was like ready to just yelling at Cameron after the match, and the Blake and Murphy had to come in afterwards to stop her and hold her back. But yeah, it was a match. It was whatever. Afterwards, Enzo and Cass were backstage. They were discussing how they still wanted the tag titles and wanted to take them from Dash and Dawson. And then they were interrupted by American Alpha, who's Jordan and Gable. And Enzo and Cass were making rap references, and they talked about back-to-back of how they were going to be I can't remember what it was, but then Gable came in and started doing part of the freestyle and didn't know the words to it, and they made fun of him. It was a fun little segment because what's great about the chemistry of Jason Jordan and Chad Gable is that Gable does all the geeky stuff like that, and Jordan is just in disapproval. He shake his head, but he's like, this guy's really good, so maybe I should sell him a little bit. But when he came out and started freestyling, even all three of them were in complete disapproval. They're just like, don't do that. So they talked about teaming up together and how they were going to be in an 8-man tag match against Blake and Murphy and Dash and Dawson. And they were looking forward to that match. And after that, they did the Ready William Gable spot. And when it was time to say Gable, all three of them left. They were like, no. We're not doing that. It's great. Elias Sampson, the Drifter, came in. I've never thought. I don't know what to. I officially think we have invented a new heat. It's called Drifter Heat, and that heat is essentially when you're a heel and you get no reaction. You're not cheered. You're not booed. Just nobody cares. It's like you're out there and it's like, all right, Drifter, yay. You drift. Nobody knows anything about you. Commentary doesn't know anything about you. You have a guitar. You're a guy. There's not much else to talk about. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird. Speaking of weird, I forgot to talk about this with Carmella. I noticed in that backstage segment, she's not using her accent anymore. They've actually pushed her away from that Staten Island, Long Island accent. She's not doing it anymore, mostly because it's fake. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Carmella is actually from California. I lied. She is actually from Worcester, Massachusetts. Yeah, so maybe there is some legitimacy to that accent, at least from a northern perspective. But still, that accent was not working, and it was fake. And I'm glad that they're kind of pushing her away from it. Anyway, the Drifter. So this Drifter comes out here, and he has this match with Jesse Sorensen. I don't know. It was a better match today. He's okay, but I don't have a reason to care. I don't know. He's a drifter. He drifts. He goes in the ring and he sits on the turnbuckle in the dark and beats a bunch of jobbers. And I don't know. What are we building this guy for? I just love that in the middle of the match, the crowd didn't know how to react. So at one point, one guy just starts yelling, "Drift away, drift away." And people finally got behind it. It's like, hey, we finally have something to say during his matches. Drift away. Please just drift away. Drift out of this segment. It wasn't even like they were cheering him. It was just, and I think Elias Sampson was just so happy to finally get any sort of reaction. It's like, finally, geez, you fuckers are getting some heat on me. It's the one time that a chant has been started in an NXT show, and it felt appropriate. Like, it didn't feel like they're trying to get themselves over for once. This was like, man, this guy needs something, if anything, because this is boring. And there it was. Sampson won with the shake, rattle, and roll neck breaker. Match is over. Nothing else to really talk about there. Bayley versus Carmella. All right. Wait. Before that, Apollo Crews had a backstage segment where he said he had no regrets challenging Balor last week. He says that he's learned from working with Balor. And he promises that there will be a brand new Apollo Crews. So don't know what that'll entail. I don't know if he's turning heel or what, but his promos have gotten way drier and way more boring because it's really weird. At first, he was fine. I don't know if it's just because they've kind of WWE-ized him, but he's gotten somehow more boring in his promos. Don't know how that's possible. So we had the match, Carmella and Bayley. It was an okay match. Carmella did her best. Bayley did her best working with her. It was a little clunky at first, but it really started to pick up when Bayley was on the outside and Carmella had a dilemma where she was like, well, that's my best friend, and she looks a little hurt there on the outside, but I've got a championship that I want to win. So she goes and dives out onto Bayley, and then she gets back in the ring and does another dive, did a great job getting her over. And that's when the match really started to pick up, and Carmella started to look pretty good. They did a sequence at the end where they were trading pins back and forth, and then Carmella set up. She hit that reverse STO and was trying to go for her head scissors move. That's a mission move. It got transitioned out of that, and Bayley ended up rolling her up for the win. And afterwards, they went and they hugged it out. They shook hands, and they pretty much Bayley gave it up to Carmella, and Carmella gave it up for Bayley, and everybody was very happy at the end. I will say this one thing about Carmella. This entrance has to go. I am tired of her doing Enzo's entrance, where she comes out and she's like, I am the queen of Staten Island. That's gotta go. It's not getting reaction. It's actually getting heat with me. It just like something that's gotta go. Like, it's just pretty much an exact rip of Enzo's thing. But with Enzo, when he comes out, that shit gets me hyped up and fired up. With Carmella, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Anyway, so after the match, Carmella starts walking down and heading up the ramp, and she gets jumped by Eva Marie and Nia Jax. Bayley comes out there to try to help. Nia Jax headbutts her, and then they start to drag Carmella to the ring, and Nia Jax just starts hitting leg drop after leg drop, and then Eva Marie's just in there being horrible. I mean, these stomps that Eva had, man, they were bad. They were horrible. And when it seemed like Carmella was just going to keep getting her ass beat, Asuka comes in there, and all Asuka had to do, essentially, was just stand there. And Nia Jax backed up, Eva Marie backed up, and they were up out of there. Just ran off because Asuka was going to kill them. So Bayley comes in to check up on Carmella. And all of a sudden, Asuka just turns. Like she has her attention on Nia Jax and Carmella walking up Nia Jax and Eva Marie walking up the ramp. And all she does is just a slight turn. And the crowd reacted to just the turn alone. And when that happened, Bayley just kind of looked up, and that stare down happened, and Asuka brushed off the title, and everybody was chanting, yes, yes, yes. They want to see Bayley versus Asuka. Asuka's going to kill this poor woman. It's going to happen. It's going to be nasty. My man, Asuka was straight up just like, yeah, I want that title. And the look on Asuka's face when she left, and the look on Bayley's face when she saw that, Bayley looked legitimately concerned, and Asuka looked like she was like, that's going to be mine in a month. It's great. Loved it. I want to say one thing about Bayley. Bayley wrestles the way John Cena should wrestle. And I know that Bayley is getting a comparison of being the female John Cena. I'll tell you why she's not, and why it's actually John Cena who should wrestle more like Bayley. With the open challenges, remember how like John Cena would sell and just sell and just sell and just sell, and it wouldn't matter who his opponent was, whether it was Zack Ryder, Xavier Woods, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. Doesn't matter the quality of opponent. He would just always let them hit all of their offense and an AA win. Bayley didn't do that here with Carmella. Bayley was clearly the better wrestler. So she wrestled like she was the better wrestler and had more control of the match. And then Carmella found an opening, an opportunity, and seized it. But there wasn't a point where Carmella looked as if like, oh my God, she's the better wrestler. She should be winning. No, Bayley was the better wrestler. And I wish John Cena, or at least they would book him to wrestle matches more like that. That is it for NXT. Let's see what kind of questions you guys have. I will look at the Twitter real quick and see what's going on over there. Yeah, I'll go for a few minutes here because I need to get some food. I didn't even eat breakfast this morning. All right, I'm here at the Twitter now. No submissions thus far. Oh wait, I do see a few from okay, so Jake Mitchell was at least sent two. I know we haven't done the what wrestlers look like thing. Oh, they have Kurt Angle with the fire hose of milk. He just captions when you tell her to slow down, but she doesn't listen. That's pretty funny. I'll retweet that one. They also have the there's a Dean Ambrose one. Let me tweet that one too. Pentagon Jr. versus Asuka. I would be totally okay with that. Shit, I've been sitting here begging for Brock Lesnar and Asuka. Seriously, I would pay to see Brock Lesnar and Asuka. Is Blackjack Gaming coming soon? Soon, yes. I do want it to happen one day. Just right now, it's not going to happen. No, not Call of Duty. Oh, dear God, no. Do I watch Lucha Underground? I have not started watching yet. And technically, yes, I do have a gaming channel, but I haven't been on it in a while. I want to get back into it is what I should really say. Is Fastlane next week? I believe Fastlane is next week. Yeah, let me check that. Yeah, February 21st. Yeah, so it's next week. But it's weird because it doesn't feel like it's been really promoted. At least the date hasn't really been. How would I book Mark Henry's last match? No clue. No clue. I mean, if they just want to give him the Andre the Battle Memorial Trophy at WrestleMania, and Mark just says I'm hanging him up, I'd be okay with that. That's fine. It's in his home state of Texas. I have not seen Deadpool yet. No, I need to see it at some point. Maybe I'll go with a friend. We'll watch. The go home show will be ass. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the previous Raws have been nothing to really make you get interested in the go home show. They've done a very terrible job of building. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, my stomach's fine. I just I don't know what it was. I've been drinking water mostly. But yeah, my stomach feels fine now. There was kind of like a virus going around in North Carolina. I don't know if I caught it or if it was just kind of like a bad day. I went drinking the night before. Because we went go-karting. Maybe that was it. I went go-karting. My stomach got upset. But the food at the place wasn't that great. It was just kind of like okay. And maybe that's where I got it from. Who knows? AJ Styles versus Cena. AJ Styles. Cena's gonna win. Obviously, if it's WWE, Cena's gonna win. Opinion on EC3. I like EC3. I think I'm really curious to see what he's going to do in a face run that he should. That I mean, it was about time that he got a run as a face. I'll be interested in seeing what he does. It's a shame. It's a shame though, because the problem with TNA is that I don't religiously follow them. I kind of watch segments of it, and I kind of judge off of that. But I think it'll be fine. I do not think Titus is finished in the WWE. No, I think he'll still be there and still be doing his charity work. And even if he wasn't there anymore, he'd still be doing whatever. I will not be attending Mania this year. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I'm right near NC State. I did hear the rumor a while ago that there was supposed to be a female who was supposed to join the Wyatts, but I highly doubt, not highly doubt. I'm just going to say it's not going to happen. Taker at Mania, I have no clue. It's not going to be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens apparently pitched for it. He wanted to fight Taker, but at this point, Owens is nothing. They're not doing anything with him. If they wanted to build him for a fight with Taker, they've done a terrible job of doing it. They just had him lose to Dolph Ziggler twice. Brian Alvarez threw around the idea. I'm going to say this very clearly. He threw around the idea. He didn't say it was going to happen. A Braun Strowman versus Taker. Unless Owens is beating Taker at Mania, I don't know. And even then, it's just like, well, if you're going to have him beat Taker, why didn't you build him up? Yeah, there's just no real valid opponents right now for Taker. I did hear Braun Strowman versus Lesnar possibly being a thing. I don't think it will be. It's Braun Strowman. It's just, God, no. I know he's supposed to be the next big giant, and apparently the word is that we haven't seen all that he can do yet. Oh boy. But yeah, just I can't get into a Strowman or a Wyatt match against Brock. And I don't think the Wyatt should honestly be interfering in this match either with the triple threat. Now, if they want to do this whole Titan thing and they kill all the big guys at Fastlane and then Brock loses at Fastlane and afterwards they're like, you're the last Titan that we want to eliminate, that'd be a good way to tell that story. And then you could move on and do the Wyatts versus Lesnar. If you want to do that, that's fine. But the Wyatt should not be helping Roman at all. Brawny the Strowman. I mean, he's big. I don't know. They're not doing Taker versus Bray again. Taker he's killed Bray twice. Why would Taker want to fight him again? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, with all this Taker talk, I haven't even seen this. I haven't seen pictures of this guy getting in shape. I haven't seen him anywhere. Seriously, when was the last match Undertaker wrestled? Let me see. Wins, losses. It's kind of just seemed like after Survivor Series, I haven't heard anything about him. Yep, after Survivor Series, he has not wrestled a match. No matches since November 2nd of 2015. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I mean, I mean, it's you as a Taker and Kane match might be. If they want to retire Taker and Kane and just let this be their last match, I would not mind if that's the match at Mania. Taker versus Kane. I don't mind that. As a matter of fact, if that's what they want to do, go for it. Alrighty, I think that's pretty much it. I got to get some food inside of me so I don't starve to death. Thank you guys so much again for coming out for the podcast today. Hopefully next week we'll be back on Thursday and rolling at normal time. Remember, leave a thumb or a like on the video. Share it with everybody. Share it with your friends, your family, your grandma, your cousin, Jim Bob, whoever you know. And I'll see you next week at It's 21 Blackjack at Neat Clean Finish.